Ladies and gentlemen, it's another exciting Sunday afternoon, and we are here for the Hot Seat series. Hallelujah. You are welcome to the Peace Hall of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church Ghana, the Trinity Parish, and this is the Evangelical Presbyterian Students Union, Trinity Parish branch. Thank you so much. Now, this is the maiden edition of an amazing program that we call Hot Seat, and it's going to be a series. So it's a program where we get astute individuals, people who have made it, people who have distinguished themselves in various disciplines, and then we try to interact with them to pick pieces of advice from them, right? There's a saying that life is lived forward, but it's understood backwards. Now, I think that as the youth, what we think are mistakes that we can avoid are things that we should be going after. And so if we have veterans who have gone through adulthood and they are now happily married and they have a wonderful family, it is good that we have an interactive session with them where we can learn from their feet. So this evening, we have no other couple than Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Edem Aka. Shall we give them a round of applause? So you're welcome, Madam Vera.
Thank you.
And then you're welcome, Mr. Daniel Aka.
Thank you, Elon.
All right. Thank you so much for making it here. So we go straight into, we zoom straight into action. Now, we want to understand. So the youth are here and they want to know who you are. So when we say Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Edem Aka, who are you? I think I'll start from Daddy, and then Mommy would follow suit, please.
Thank you, Elon. Before I tell you whom I am, let me say that from the intro by Elon, he refers to us as astute people who are there. We are not there yet. We are still growing and still learning. And so we are grateful to you for the opportunity to be part of this interactive discussion, this interactive session. And let's take it as such. We are here and we'll be learning from you as well. So get ready to also share whatever knowledge you have on the subjects that we are going to consider here. Thank you. I now move on to tell you whom I am. The name has been mentioned already. I am Daniel Edem Aka, a native of Ho. I live in Accra. I'm a member of the EPSU Madina. For my profession, I am a chartered accountant, a member in good standing with the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. I am head of finance in a Free Zones company. May I mention a bit of certain soft aspects of myself. I have some personal values and my personal mission and vision. These are the things that guide my path and illuminate my path towards achieving, what I want to become eventually. And as I indicated earlier on, we are still in the growing process. Sure. We are still learning. Knowledge is a good investment to make at any time because the investment will pay off. So we are here to learn and share with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very short, very, very, very short intro of Mr. Daniel Aka. I think as we get along, we'll get to know more about you. How about you?
Yes.
Mami?
Thank you for the opportunity. Happy to be with you this evening. I'm Vera Asima Aka. Started as Vera Asima and then had Aka along the way. I am a nurse by profession and an educator. So a nurse educator, a double professional. A native of Ho, and I was born in 1973. We are still growing and learning. I work at the School of Perioperative and Critical Care Nursing. That is where I teach. Currently, I'm the Deputy Chief Health Tutor as my rank. My passion is caring, and I love to sing too, and I'm a good listener as well.
Wow.
I think for now, that is what Vera is.
Okay, interesting. Hot seat. I want to ask: are your seats very hot, or they are warming?
It's okay.
They are freezing.
They are freezing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the killer questions have not come yet. So we would our guests are still relaxed. Thank you so much for that. I think by the time we leave here, Mommy will give us some sweet melodies. Yeah. We are looking forward to that as well.
Right.
We never knew she could sing. So if she enjoys singing, then I'm sure we're going to enjoy that as well. So, Mr. Aka, quick question. So, how was your childhood like? Did you really enjoy your childhood? And what did you like to do when you were a child? Let me ask that. Where you grew up? Where did you grow up? How was it like? Very briefly.
Yeah. Okay. I think before age 7, I don't remember much. I only knew I was. My parents gave birth to me here in Accra. They moved to Kumasi and then eventually to Ho. So by 7, yes, I remember we were in Ho. I was in primary school. What I remember I liked was running from the primary school. Before we left primary 6, I was an athlete. I was running the 800 meters for Mali Primary School. So from Mali Primary, we moved on to Mali School. That's what we call now the old system. Did Form 1 to Form 5.
Okay.
But I think that you see, when you move from a primary school straight those days to the secondary school, you have others coming from the middle school. We now became too little to compete.
Okay.
And so I couldn't do the 800 meters anymore in Maoli school. I was a science student initially.
Wow.
Because I think the family, yes, we all did science. Okay.
So you did science in Maoli?
Yes.
And sorry, you did science at Maoli School?
Yes, I did.
Now, if you did science, then how come you're a chartered accountant? You know, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to get there. My O level wasn't too good,
okay.
And that is where the switch, happened. I didn't make that choice originally. My parents did. I had to go and do diploma in business studies.
You mean the choice for science or the choice?
No,
switching.
I did the O-level science in Maoli School.
Yes.
At Form 5.
Yes.
No, those days you do O-level at Form 5. Then you go to the 6th form to write the A-levels. So after O-levels, I couldn't continue into the 6th form to continue with the science course.
Program.
Yeah. So that was when I remember it was my dad who got the forms that, okay, go and do this course. Initially, I didn't like it, I may be honest with you. But I think because of the likeness for mathematics, with a good math background, the course was easy. DBS for 2 years. I now had to study and write the A-level privately, which was also very smooth. I ended up in the university together with my mates who continued straight, with the science. So we all ended up in the university. Okay. Now I read BCom at the university. Okay.
I think I'll let you hold on there because I think that's a very interesting story. Yeah. And we want to dig deeper into that, especially when you were transitioning from science into business, right? Most of us, most often than not, we hit a roadblock at a certain point in our lives and we think that we've gotten to our wit's end and we can't do anything about it, right? And some of us perpetually remain on the ground. But I think it's good that you were able to get up, look around you, see your strengths, and then be able to push through. So just give me some time. We'll be coming to that particular angle of your life, where you share with us how you were able to overcome, and then also life at the university level. All right.
Thank you.
So let me come to Mommy. Did you also grow up in Ho? And then later on, I'm going to ask whether you met Dad in Ho.
Yes, so I was also born in Ho, but we moved to Accra, and I attended Datus Preparatory School in Accra. I think I enjoyed schooling my primary days. I was so happy with the friends I found around me, until my mom had to leave to come and attend to my granddad, since she was the only child of her parents. So I had to stay with a friend, my mommy's friend, and that was when my woes started. But I managed to sail through till I completed my class 6, primary class 6. Then I joined my mommy back in Ho. I did the common entrance as well, so I entered into Mauli in 1986. So did my secondary education, then the O-levels. Then my O-level too wasn't so good. I had to rewrite, and then did the sixth form. And after sixth form, I did my national service, and then I entered into nursing training for 3 years. And that is how come I am a nurse today.
Okay.
Yes.
That's also a very interesting part of your life. And, usually when you see people who you think have made it, we usually see it's like an iceberg, right? An iceberg will have just a smaller portion of the ice over the water or over the water body, and then a bigger portion of the ice is embedded in the water. And the only thing we see around is just the smaller portion that is showing. So you don't see the entire picture or the full story. So I think it's good that we are having an interaction with you, an exciting one, of course, where we get to know you better. Thank you very much. So back to Mommy. I think you were talking about when you had some crisis, and then if you don't mind, I want to delve a bit into that, and then tie that to your likeness for your parents a bit. So the quick question I want to ask is, Mom and Dad, who do you like best, or who did you like best, and why? Who was your favorite, and then why? And then maybe you could touch a bit on the crisis that you had also.
My favorite among the two is my mom. She has been my rock. My mom raised me single-handedly, so I was raised by a single parent. Yes, she had really made me what I am today. She urged me on in life, and she still does. I would say that, yes, those times that she had to leave me, 1 year, though it was short, looked everlasting to me at that time, tender age. I was 12 then, and the friend wasn't the problem, but the friend was also pitching with somebody. And at that age, you would want to watch telly, but you are not allowed to watch telly. There is a bathroom, you are not allowed to bath in the bathroom, you would bath outside.
Wow.
And it was quite of a hell. And the worst part of it was, there was a day she had to attend to some personal issues and asked me to wait at a friend's shop at Carnation Market then. So I was there, and it was getting late. The friends were about closing. So they told me they are going to leave any moment. So I said, okay, why won't I go to the station and see whether my aunt is coming? But I went and I didn't see her anywhere there. So I came back only to find that the shop had been closed. And I hung there for a while. So I was there when my aunt came, and she was so angry, so furious. She just collected the key from me and then walked away. So I had to walk from Kanishi Market to Swan Lake then, and only to get to the room to change my uniform. I was in uniform, my school uniform then, when she caught up with me in the room, locked the door and started beating me.
Wow. But what was your crime here?
She won't listen to anything. And then accidentally the cane landed underneath my eye and wounded me.
Too bad.
That was about 3 weeks to come to Ho. I had finished my O-level, my common entrance then. So 3 weeks to go back to my mom. So one of the brothers came, saw what happened, and he was furious with what the sister did. He attended to the wound, and then the time came that we had to come to Ho. So she decided to run to my father and had to apologize for what he did. And when they asked me, I just told them, well, I was ironing when I got hit by the iron. Because I didn't want to spoil a relationship or a friendship that they have established over the years.
Okay.
So I confided in my mom later and I narrated the whole thing. Because apparently she had had some children she was raising and they were naughty. So she assumed I also went somewhere.
Okay.
And that was the most painful thing I had ever experienced in my life. That she didn't ask me what happened and decided to beat me. That mark had been on me for years. At times I see it and it reminds me of what had happened in the past.
Yes.
So I would say this is something I had lived with that had pained me throughout my life on this earth.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a very emotional one, I must say, and sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
But I also equally believe that might have toughened you,
Yes,
and then
it did.
possibly made you who you are today.
It did.
I see a lot on your status, and then I realize that you have a lot of children, people who are not yours, but as you said, you're a tutor, so you take care of them, and I know you do good with them as well, and they are proud of you. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so mommy is a mommy's girl, if I should say. Let's find out from daddy. But before then, hot seat. Oh, I can't hear you. Hot seat. Okay, it's getting exciting. Okay, we are still taxiing. Very soon we shall take off. The flight is going to take off very soon. Are you a daddy's person or you are also a mama ba, as they say? Who is your favorite?
I think I don't have a favorite really. Even though mommy appears to,
Pampa. She used to pamper.
be the one who cared most. Yes, in our case, in the late 90s to the early 80s, when there was this exodus of, people migrating to Nigeria for, whether greener pastures or whatever it was. So my dad, yes, had to go to Nigeria. He brought us all from Kumasi and dropped us in our family house in Ho. By then, because our mom was a teacher, she had to take time to go through her transfer arrangements and all that.
Sure.
Yeah, so, she hurried up and quickly joined us. So most of the time, yes, it was our mom who was around.
But you used to hear from dad, right?
Oh, sure, he provided.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely.
Daddies will provide. You do. We provide. But mommy, is always around.
I think it depends on the type of dad you have.
Making sure mommy is always there, making sure that. But she came and took us from our dad actually put us in a public school.
Okay.
And left for Nigeria. Now when she came, fortunately she got appointment at the Mali Primary School,
okay,
which was a preparatory school.
Right.
And so he took all of us there to Mali Primary School. Our dad came back from Nigeria, spent a year or two, left again for Libya. So he was that type of person. So mom, yes, was always around. Growing up, I mean, the family house experience, you have your aunties, your cousins, your uncles, very populated family house, and its nuances, as we know from our home. So, yeah, that was aspect of the childhood experience.
So I think you are also geared towards mom because you spent more time possibly with mom, and then maybe you were so closer to most of the sacrifices that mom was making as compared to the sacrifices that possibly dad was making.
Yeah, was always around.
All right.
We lost her in 2018. Yeah. My dad is there. He's still involved. Next week, Friday, on the 27th, he'll turn 82.
Wow.
Yeah. But he's still doing fine. He's healthy. Apart from the unstable blood pressure, he's fine.
I think he's a real soldier. Sorry about the loss of mom, but
Yeah.
I think dad is still there, and you are privileged to still have him around.
Yeah.
We thank God for that. All right. So let me come back to you. I want to ask. Mom has shared some very memorable times of her childhood. I'm switching the baton a bit to you, and I'm flipping the coin to ask you whether you have any embarrassing moments when you were a child. Is there anything you remember as very embarrassing that you never ever want to talk about, but today you want to share with us when you were a child? Hot seat!
I'm finding it difficult to come out with one specific unpleasant experience. But we grew up in a family house, okay? So yeah, a lot of fight for stuff. Food to scrub, the bathroom, and back home, we harvest rainwater into these tanks, 250-liter tanks that we painted, this black, so a struggle over the water, or we need to go to look for water, carry buckets. I think it was a normal upbringing back home. We were many. The experiences were the type where it's only.
I don't want you to. I think you are being very decorative.
Really?
And you are polishing up. We want a very embarrassing moment. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I think we were traveling from Ho, commuting to Accra, and then I was in the vehicle with my wife, and then my small boy was at the back, and then we were using the AC, so the windows were all up.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I think I had an unpleasant situation where there was a foul air that was blowing around. So I quickly looked into my wife's face, and then she also quickly turned and looked into my face. But here lies the case: the small boy was sleeping.
Yeah.
So nobody turned their attention to him at all. Then I think after a while, I lowered the glasses, but then there was another experience. A second time, it happened. I turned to her again. She also turned, looked into my face. Nobody said a word, and then we were all quiet. Small boy was still sleeping. So the third time it happened, then I turned to my wife, and then at that point in time, I had to tease her in some way and tell her, "Oh, I think," and then she said she's not the one. So I had to shout at the boy, and then mommy comes to the rescue of the boy and says the boy has not done anything. I think it's not the boy. So we are only three in the car. So where is it coming from? Then it means that is the culprit.
Yeah.
So I think it was only by God's grace. Eventually, when we got home, mommy was alone with small boy, and the experience still continued. This one, daddy was nowhere to be found in the room. Yeah. But then that is when she got to know that daddy was actually not the corporate. I'm looking for something like that with you. Did you do any bad thing that you really regret?
I'm still looking for one, and I'm not decorating it. We grew up in Bo, the family house thing, the fighting with cousins, the insults from aunties, those type of things were there. What I remember was that, yes, on weekends, we had to go to the farm, especially on Saturdays. We have to walk quite a long distance, okay, from the whole Akwan area, going towards, we call it Kojobi, behind the whole Poly area. But it was a normal upbringing then. At home, those days, it's only during Easter or Christmas that you have the opportunity to enjoy some rice and some, tin fish and stuff. But this is what they do. They will prepare and put down, and a number of us, Chinake.
Okay.
I remember those things will fight over the meat, and things like that. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But as time goes on, if I remember one of those,
you tell us.
The ones they are looking for.
You tell us. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is still the hot seat series, and when I say hot seat, what do you say? Once again, hot seat. I think the seats are getting heated gradually. So you said you were an athlete, if I could recall. Did you have any nickname that I think from next week onwards we could call you by, and you would easily be able to turn because you have some nostalgic moments around it, and respond to? Did you have any nickname?
You see, for the primary school, sports, I didn't, have any nickname at that level. I don't know whether we are going ahead into the
so you
education and all.
Okay.
Yes, I hope that no one knows it yet. So, okay. So yes, I got to a point where I said I entered the university to read for the first degree. I read BCom.
BCom, yeah.
And
so, for purposes of those who don't know, BCom, Bachelor of Commerce.
That's Bachelor of Commerce. Bachelor of Commerce. So, University of Cape Coast. Those of you who know of the University Games, there's one of them they call Cuba.
Okay.
It's Commonwealth from Legon, Unity Hall from KNUST, Volta Hall from Legon again. Then there's Adishi Hall, there's Africa, and there's Atlantic Hall.
Okay.
So I was in Stanford, no, they are in a different game. So I was in Atlantic Hall.
Okay. So you were a marina.
Exactly. And I also became a hall executive at the point.
Okay.
In the university, whilst you are going through the university itself too must what?
Pass through you.
Pass through you. So, I really had a nice time in Atlantic Hall.
Wow.
The Jama thing, yes, I was part of it.
Okay.
Atlantic Hall, you see, you will not come there and ask that you are looking for Daniel Edem Aka and you find me.
No, not at all. Okay.
So that was the name.
So what was the name?
you must have a name. And I had one. I'll share it. Mine is Dan Blocker.
Dan Blocker.
And today, very good friends. Even the family. My dad, he will call me Dan Blocker.
Dan Blocker, okay.
My wife will call me and even is trying to take part of the name. She is Blockers. And so that was life in Atlantic Hall, University of Cape Coast.
Okay, interested. So, Mama Vera, the brokers, right? Okay. Interested. Mama V, what Daddy is saying, I think you could relate to it, right? Yes. Did you know him by then? Just by the way,
well,
did you know him at that time?
I knew him
at the university level.
I know before university.
So you people started some time ago.
Just hold on. Don't take the soap off the people. What really happened was the younger brother was rather my mate back in Mauli.
Okay.
And Yes, I knew him. They were day students by then. What I knew was we were family, sort of. So when he got into university, that was when he mastered the courage to do the needful.
Do the right thing.
Yes.
Okay.
But back then in Mauli, I think we were all busy about school then. So
School, yeah.
yes, so that is how it was.
Okay.
Yes.
So even then,
Even then.
yes, you did.
I don't know whether you can see what is going on here. Hot seat. I think Dan Blocker wants to redeem his image. No, you can't just do that to a marina. No, you can't do that to 8-year haulers. They are hard guys. They are hard guys. So I trust Dan Blocker. All right.
Yeah.
So, Mommy, quick question: Did you have friends when you were growing up? I'm asking this question because of the experiences you had with your childhood.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to feel free and have friends? So if you had friends, were they a lot, or you had maybe moderate friends, or you couldn't make friends at all? And how has that affected your life?
Well, I would say I had friends. I'm the sociable type. It was only that 1 year that I would think things were a bit narrowed for me. But aside that, I had a lot of friends. So it didn't really have any negative impact on me in that 1 year. I was still myself, I would say. Back in Mauli, I had a clique of friends. I always tried to make friends with people who were focused, who loved to study, because I knew that was the reason why we were there.
Okay.
So these are the kind of friends I had. Back then in Mauli, I told you I love to sing. I was in SU and an ambassador,
Okay.
as in the choir. So yes, that is, I had friends.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So talking about your Christian life, I want to ask, at what point in your time did you give your life to Christ? Have you always been in the EP church? If yes, then we know that you have always been in the EP church. And which places have you been to? If no, then which other churches did you visit before finally you landed in the EP church?
I would say I was born into the EP church. And yes, growing up, I love to explore as well. So back in Accra, we were in a compound house with other families. So the children there used to go to Assemblies of God. So it got to a time I joined them to Assemblies of God, and even started to get myself engaged in some activities that they did, like sword drill. So I even went on some competition for them and won some of their prizes for them. So this very auntie I lived with whilst my mommy had to come back to her,
Okay.
got so furious, said, no, you are Presbyterian and that you shall remain. So you are not going to get into Assemblies of God. And my mommy said, well, she believes that religion is a choice. I may grow up and decide not to come to EP. So she doesn't see anything wrong about it. But my auntie stood her ground, and I had to come back to focus. That is EP. So I had not gone to any other place apart from EP.
Apart from the EP church.
Yes.
Okay. That's a very interesting one. I'll come back to Mr. Daniel Aka and then ask a similar question to you. So have you always been in the EP church? At what point did you give your life to Christ, and how has the journey been?
Yeah, thank you. I think coincidentally, I shared a similar
Experience.
I mean, I was also born into the EP church.
Okay.
My dad and mom are all, EP people. And so, I mean, it has always been the EP. Fortunately, we went to Mauli School. It's also an EP school.
EP school.
We got our confirmation in Mauli School. And that has been my Christian journey. I've not digressed. I may have visited other churches along the line, maybe just for some program or just a visit. I don't even remember the names of the places, the other places I've been, but 100%
EP. And I think you are happy with EP, right?
Very well.
All right.
Very well.
Hot seat. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Hot Seat. This is the maiden edition of Hot Seat series. It's a fantastic program that has been put together by the executive members of Trinity Parish, the Evangelical Presbyterian Students Union from Trinity Parish. I think it's a wonderful program. Basically, we are trying to know astute and individuals who have distinguished themselves in various disciplines, and then they have actually affected a lot of people with their benevolence, with their smiles, with their nature of life, and with things that they have been able to achieve. Today, we are hosting Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Edem Aka. If you are happy to be with them here, then let's give them a round of applause. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Aka, I'm going to switch a bit to corporate line. But before I go there, I think you had a very wonderful experience that you wanted to share with us. I interjected a bit, so I want to bring you back to that point. A science student, it's very, very interesting. You were a science student. Science was not really your thing, or it wasn't really going well for you because the results were not too good. But today we are not seeing somebody who possibly trailed in science or failed in science or failed at science, but we are seeing a chartered accountant, someone who has risen through the ranks and is doing very well in the corporate. So, I mean, what did you say to yourself? Who did you meet? Did you pass somewhere? How did you get it done? The youth want to know. Can you share with us briefly?
Thank you, Elon. Back then, when the switch from science to business had to take place, I was still young. I think I took the advice of my parents. However, what did the trick was that, like I indicated, a science student, it means that you have a good mathematics background.
Sure.
So it was no struggle at all changing from science to business. What I can say is that inwardly, I believe in brightening the corner where you are. I mean, at that time, I knew that, well, this is the course that I am in to pursue. I was not, to be honest with you, I didn't know I'll end up going to read Bachelor of Commerce at the University of Costa. I didn't know I'll end up going to read MBA in Finance and become a chartered accountant. I mean, at that, you understand?
Sure.
Because let's say it was an era that I wasn't even sure what was, ahead of me. I only wanted to do it and do it well.
Sure.
So I think that what we should learn from this is that it should be one step at a time. Whatever you have in front of you, whatever you are doing, you have to do it well, because it's a good outcome of that will open other doors or future doors for you. So I think that's what it was at that time.
Okay.
But the science made the business a bit easier. Let me be honest. That's how it was.
Sure. So there are two very important things I picked from your delivery. The first one is that I think you focused on your strength. You looked at it and said, look, all hope is not lost. I have certain strengths, so let me focus on them, right? And I think three things, actually. The second thing is that you talked to people. You spoke to your parents, or you welcome ideas from your parents, right? And I think that also helped you to do the magic, because possibly dad might have looked at your results and said, look, you are good at maths, so why don't you switch into business, where we believe that you could do possibly well at. And then the last point which you mentioned, which I think I am going away with as my final dollar that I'll put in my pocket is you are saying that whatever you find your hand doing, you've got to do it well. And I think that's a very important point that you made.
Yeah.
Whatever you find doing, you need to do it and do it well so that you can excel at what you are doing. And
Very
that's
important.
a very important point that you made.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Hot seat. I'm coming back to Mommy. So Mama Vera, quick question. We know that now you are an astute nurse and tutor. You have a lot of nurses who are coming out from out of the tutelage that you have given them, right? You're becoming a nurse. Has it gotten to do with what you studied previously, or you too had to go through a transitional moment where you had to flip the coin, like what Daddy did? And how was it like, your journey through becoming an astute nurse? Was it that smooth for you, or you also had some challenges along the line?
Well, I started as an art student, not a science like he did.
Interesting. So you are at Mauli and then you were doing arts?
No, not pure arts, as in the reading subjects.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
General arts.
Yeah,
as we
general
term it.
arts, yes.
Okay.
So that was how I started. And like I mentioned, my O levels wasn't good. I had to rewrite and then go into the A level, the sixth form.
Okay.
And after the sixth form, the grades were not so strong to continue to the university. So talking through with my mom, she asked that, yes, whilst you were in the at school, you love to teach your colleagues. Why won't you go into nursing training school, the teachers training school? And I said, no, ma'am, I don't want to be a teacher.
Okay.
I want to be a nurse.
A nurse.
Then she said, okay, if that is what you want to do, then we would go in for the nursing training form. So I think nursing also has to do with a lot of reading. So it really helped me. My art background back in the secondary school helped me to sail through my nursing education in the nursing training school. And then where I am now. So when I completed nursing training in 2000, I worked for 3 years, and I
Okay.
had to go back to specialize in an area. That is to become a perioperative nurse, as in nurses who really work with the surgeons in the theater to do surgeries. So that is my specialty in nursing. So I completed that and then immediately entered into the university to pursue my BA in nursing.
Okay.
So I did that, and when I completed, I was posted to the school, my alma mater.
Okay.
So that is where I've been till date. So my background as an art student, a general art student, had really helped me to be a better person in nursing, I would say.
All right. Okay. Okay. I think that's also a very interesting one you have shared with us. It's interesting when art students they are able to switch and also become very good medical science students. And so I think you have really done well with that one too. Yeah. But I dare say, I think I want to say that you love to study, because you did the first one. You had to, after 3 years, you had to go back and come and specialize. And then after your specialization, you move on to the university to do the degree part of nursing. I think you love to read, you love to study.
I love to be a better me.
What is your motivation? What was your motivation?
Yes, I think the motivation is about always giving out the best. So I think that my patients deserve better.
Okay.
So with my basic knowledge in nursing, I think I'm not giving out the best to my patient. The more you go higher in education when it comes to nursing, you become more analytical about the patient's situation.
Okay.
So to be a better nurse and to give the better quality care to my clients, I decided to forge ahead to do the degree and then to do my MPhil in nursing as well. Okay. So I have my MPhil in nursing.
Wow.
as well.
Wow. Shall we give Mommy a round of applause? So we have both master's degree holders who are here with us, and we are privileged to have them around. So when I started by saying that there are people who have distinguished themselves in their various disciplines, I think I was a prophet, and I still remain a prophet to have said that. So Mr. and Mrs. Aka, so quick question to Uncle Dan, and then we come to Mommy. So how do you juggle your career with your Christian life? How are you able to do that? Because you seem to be a very busy person.
Yes. Let's say it's even career, family life, and the
corporate,
the
career, family life, and then your Christian life.
But let me be honest that I don't do much of the Christian life. I only come to church on Sundays. Some Sundays, certain activities will take me out of town and all that. I am yet to get more involved with the church's business. I think that I have the will. I am willing to do more when it comes to...
I think these days you are doing exceptionally well.
We thank God for that. I'm praying to do more. I'm praying to do more. So it's the work life versus family, which we try to manage. But thankfully, in bringing up the family, the church plays a role as well. The children come with us. They also attend the Sunday school,
sure,
which is very helpful. When they are in a good school, when the school has the good morals, you pray that they make good friends, and the society itself to help in nurturing the children. Then you can have your peace of mind to be able to concentrate on your corporate life. I think it's not too difficult. By God's grace, we are able to cope.
Okay.
With managing these 2 or 3 life needs. Okay, the corporate life, the family, and the Christian life.
The Christian life. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for that. All right. So I want to switch to a different area, which has to do with marriage, of course. Since we started talking about children and family life, we need to talk about marriage. My question to Mommy. Mommy, how long have you been married? When were you so sure that Dan Blocker was the right person? And was it when he said it, he had the courage to say it, or you knew from day one when you met him? We want to understand. How long have you been married, and how did it start?
Well, this journey started back in 2005. And when he approached me, he came straight with a marriage proposal.
Wow.
I would say, yes, he gave me an eye some time back. He approached me some years before the 2005.
Okay.
But then I wasn't ready for marriage. So I did not give in till I knew the time was right, and he came back again and went straight with a ticket. So I said a yes in 2005. And within 6 months, we got ready and we had our wedding.
Okay.
So that was how it happened. So for 16 years now, is it 16? We have been married for 16 years.
Excellent. I think it hasn't been easy. But God has seen you through, and it's been a wonderful experience, yes. I guess. I want to say so. Because 16 years in marriage is no joke. It's no joke at all. So we give glory to God for that. Yeah, we thank God for that. Okay. So my question to Mr. Aka. So is it that you've always is it that you were stalking Mama Vera from the beginning, or how did you do it? Because you came straight to her with a marriage proposal, and within 6 months, I think marriage was set, and you were able to go through. So how did you handle it? What was your philosophy around it, and how did you handle it? My question is coming. This particular question is coming out because I feel that you didn't get to know her very well. But in another sense, maybe you had a different strategy where, because you are Dan Blocker, you were observing from afar, or possibly your younger brother, who was a mate to her, was doing all the underground work for you, like an FBI agent. So let us know about that.
No, but before he comes in, we had been friends.
Okay.
We had been friends, so we knew each other.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not like he was studying.
So you used to go out, go to the beach together.
Well, we grew up in Ho, basically. There is no beach in Ho. So
You're right. So what kind of games are in Ho? I mean, you used to do it together, possibly in the same area, because when you are in Ho, people in Ho know each other. I think so, because Ho is not too scattered. A settlement, I must say. It's these days that you have Ho opening up a bit. So people in Ho, I think, know each other very well. So you used to play together on the field?
not playing together, maybe once a while an outing together with other friends.
Okay.
Yes.
But he never said anything at that time?
We were just friends. When he came and I told him, hold on, he held on. So we were just friends, normal friends, share our experiences. Back in the university, we exchanged letters as friends.
Wow,
and that ended.
So do you have memories of some of the letters that came to you? I'll be coming to you on that. So maybe you should try and recollect some. We want to know some of his vibes that actually won your heart. But Mr. Aka, how did you handle it?
Okay, let me take it from here. Yeah, we were in the same secondary school. I was 2 years their senior. So yeah, I think we are from, that, youthful and young age. I think, I was still admiring from afar, and then, she mentioned it earlier that it was when I entered the university. She was taking her A-levels. I attempted to get close again. And guys here, you know how painful it is when a lady bounces you.
Definitely.
She bounced me big time. But I didn't give up. I maintained the friendship on a very, low level. But I think when the time came, and I believe that, I think that the two of us, anytime we share that conversation, she would tell me, yeah, so if we had started anything before, the real time, it would have gone bad. And so we take consolation in that. So even though I felt that she had bounced me and it was so painful, then, this was how the relationship came about. So in Ho, their house and our house, I'm sure it's less than 5 minutes walk.
Okay.
And so yes, we actually grew up.
And I believe those days no mobile phones, right?
No.
So you could sometimes walk.
You have to go.
Get to the window.
Exactly. And even when we're in the university, there are no mobile phones.
Sure.
And so letters, she will not even respond to the letters.
But she was really interested,
Perhaps.
Yeah, she was. She was just not ready.
Perhaps she was. But we are thankful to God that since 2015, that we got married.
2015.
Yes.
2005.
2005.
Okay.
Since 2005 that we got married, God has been good to us. The Lord Himself forgave us, and so we also need to make room for each other's faults. I'm sure that my faults are countable, but by the grace of God, she has, forgiven me all along, and that's the journey.
Okay, interesting.
That's how the journey has been.
All right. Okay. Hot seat. Are we enjoying ourselves here? All right. So once again, this is the maiden edition of the Hot Seat series, and we are hosting Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Arthur. So my quotation for today is Daniel chapter 1 verse 1. We are translating, we are transforming scripture over here just for purposes of this. That blessed are they who do not give up, for there shall be Mama Vera. Amen. I think Mr. Aka is a hard guy. He's slow but sure. He knows what he wants. He's a chairman. Yeah, he's a chairman. All right. So Mama Vera, I'm coming back to you. Do you remember some of his lines? And do you remember? If you don't, I would forgive you on that.
No, I don't remember.
But you read the letters?
I did.
Why were you not replying?
There was one that he sent some picture into.
Wow.
Expected me to send one as well. But I don't even remember whether
you said or not.
That is as far as I can remember.
Shall we give them a round of applause? we are really enjoying it and then loving it. Okay, so let me ask a quick question. So between the two of you, okay, who is more reserved?
He is.
He is.
Yes.
Okay, so my question to you is, you see a very reserved person. How are you able to handle him?
Well, he's reserved though, but if you approach him with the conversation, he would talk.
He would talk.
So
especially when it's you.
When it is me, he will talk. Yes. When you are looking at him from afar, you would think he's kind of an introvert, but he's fun to be with. He talks when he's with me. I make him talk, and at times he talks even too much.
Wow, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Okay. So these are very interesting moments, and then we are really enjoying it and loving it. So thank you very much for sharing that with us. My quick question to you is, you've attained a lot of laurels when it comes to the academics. Okay. So my question is, did you attain all of them before marriage? I doubt to say yes, or I dare say yes. But the question what I'm trying to drive at is, what has been your motivation? What has been your strength? Because as a parent, especially when children also start coming in, it wouldn't be that easy for you to continue to pursue, to rise on the academic ladder. So what has been your motivation and what has kept you going? Is it him? Is it what keeps you going?
Well, I would say I didn't acquire all this before I got married. When I was in the second year in my doing my first degree, that was when we got married. And then I became pregnant whilst in school. So I had my first child when I was in school doing my first degree. So it hadn't been easy, but our mothers were there. They really helped us with the kids whilst we were chasing this education. So I would say because we had that help and that love from the family, whatever we focused on doing, we decided to get it done. So that was how it was.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I think we would be wrapping up our session very soon on this particular edition of Hot Series. I have a couple of questions for us to wrap up with, but I was interacting with the audience before we started, and then I think a couple of them had some questions for you. So the first one is on stress management. And since mommy is into the health sector, I want to pose this question to her. So, how do you handle stress in your very busy schedule? As busy as you are, how are you able to manage stress as a parent, as a very astute tutor, very busy one, of course, and then also as a wife? How are you able to handle stress?
Well, thank you. And I'll say that stress is my area of study.
Oh, okay.
That had been my thesis in MPhil, and that is what I'm going to pursue for my doctorate as well. So I know we all go through stress, but a little bit of stress is good for every one of us. And it's about planning. If you have a lot at hand, you plan and you take them one at a time. And there are times that you realize that, yes, there are two things you would have to do at a go. It is very important that, yes, you can look for somebody to delegate whilst you keep a little eye on it, and then you would handle the other one. You don't have to keep everything in the basket and try to say you can do it. We are not Hercules. So I think handling stress, it's about planning. And then you would have to take a little bit of rest in between. You take a little bit of reflection, or I think pondering. You take a little bit of leave from the site where the stress is, and then you come back to it and you would be able to put up your best. That is how stress can be managed. Okay. It's about planning and prioritizing.
Okay. So you are saying we should prioritize the work that we do.
Yes.
First things first, the most urgent one should be taken care of.
Yes.
You can't do everything at the same time. And we should also leave the site that is causing us the stress for a moment, take a breather, and then come back.
Yes.
All right. Okay. But sometimes we don't even know what is stressing us. Or sometimes the things that are stressing us are not even worth it in the first place. And I think mostly the things that we involve ourselves in to de-stress ourselves rather end up stressing us. So what are some of the practical ways we can de-stress? If there is any word that's distress or terminology as distress, I think you will understand what I mean.
Yes.
Yes.
So taking leave of the place is one of the practical ways to distress.
Okay.
Identify what is giving you the stress is also very important. Like you mentioned, if you are not able to find out what is giving you the stress, it will be difficult to really handle it. So we try to identify it and then take a leave of that part where the stress is, and then think through it and come back to deal with it.
Okay.
That is the most practical way to handle some of these things.
Okay. So there is a very important question here from one of our members who, Daddy, I'll be coming to you in a jiffy. The person wants to know that what is your take on single parenting, okay? And has it affected your choice of career? And has it affected you in any way in life? I hope you understand the question.
I do.
Yes. Because I think some of us also grew up just with a single parent. I grew up with, yes, dad was there, but I think he was a passive sort of father. And at a point in time, after a certain age, he was no more. So mom had to play both roles over there. I don't begrudge him though. He's still my dad. I love him. But he wasn't there. So some of us had to go through the process like that. So if you could help this person who is asking this question.
Well, single parenting. The Bible did not design parenting to be single though. But you and I have come to meet some of this situation. Yes, but it is, I would say, it is not very bad if the parent that you have is very focused and always close with you. We have some single parents who are not close to their children, and their children now find solace in elsewhere. That is when the children go wayward. But if you have this parent who is always there, who always listens to you, and you always share everything with him or her, you would be focused in life. They would always order your step. So it is not very bad though, even though it is best to have both parents. When the focus is there for the parent and the child, I think it works out perfectly.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Hot series. Hot seat. Hot seat. I hope we are all enjoying ourselves here, and then we are learning from the experiences of Mr. and Mrs. Aka. Shall we give them a round of applause once again? So, Uncle Dan, as I said, we shall be drawing down the curtain soon. But there is this very important question about youth and unemployment. Okay, we want to know your take on it. So, with the current rate of youth unemployment, what is your advice for the youth of today who are facing such challenges? What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think we all know the unemployment situation we have. I mean, let's say globally or on the continent, and specifically the situation in Ghana. We recently are aware of the pressure group or the group that is demonstrating about fixing the country, and I think unemployment is one of the key areas that they are concerned about. What can we do individually? I think we should be measured in our expectations. Let's understand that this is the situation at hand. In my answer to one of the questions about my switch from science, business, and all, I mean, I believe that whatever you have in your hands, make good use of it. As in right in the corner where you are. Little beginnings, will help build the brighter future. Some of us may want to get a very big job to start with, but I mean, it is not always available, that lucrative one. I went to University of Cape Coast, and so we are trained as professional teachers. And maybe that is why I like talking. My wife mentioned it. So yes, I started. I did some teaching. Even though we say teaching doesn't pay and all, if you have to get some teaching to start with, please, it helps. That is what will provide your basics, at least your transportation. Something that you can live on and be able to even think about a bigger job somewhere. Some other counselors have advised that with your qualification, in trying to look for jobs that you don't find, you can try approaching an employer and say that, okay, you want to be an intern, you don't even want to be paid, you want to do something to gain some experience. And if you are taken on for such roles, I'm sure the CEO or whoever your boss is will not just look at you. I'm sure they would make available some allowances to help you understand, while you gain the experience and look for the better job tomorrow, so that the problems that are faced as a result of unemployment, where this depression, if you are not fortunate, you join bad friends because you want to, for materialism, want to make it through other means and all that, then you'll be spared those troubles. So for the youth who are faced with unemployment, please, let's look for smaller beginnings, which I'm sure are available. I mean, people teaching, go for an intern, as I mentioned earlier. Don't expect to be paid even, but I'm sure you can gain experiences, and those will open as time goes on.
Okay.
I think this is what I want to share on the unemployment bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mami, is there anything to add to the unemployment bit from your angle as a health practitioner?
Yes. Well, at times we look at somebody and we think, I also have to be that person. But I would say that if you don't immediately have what it takes to be that person, you equally have something to be yourself. So tap into what you have to be yourself. Identify it. If it is even making hand beats, you start with it. And then you would look around who would want this hand beats. And then you can start from there. And then later you would go ahead to get into your bigger dream. So that is what I would want to say. That you can't be somebody, you can be yourself. And get yourself a mentor, and that person can direct your path. A good mentor at that. Not anybody at all. Yes.
All right.
I want to add to getting over the unemployment problem.
Please.
You see, knowledge is a very great investment. Okay, knowledge is the best investment. So whilst you are looking for that great or big job that is not yet coming, I also know that yes, if you want to add knowledge, it costs. You need finances to be able to do further studies and all that. However, the little additional knowledge that you can add to yourself, please, it pays. So always learn, always seek knowledge, and you will not regret you did.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Hot seat. Oh, your morale is down. Hot seat. All right. I want to check whether their seats are very hot or warm now, or the seats are still freezing, as Mama Vera said. Is it still freezing?
I think it's okay now. It's
warm.
warm.
Okay, it's warm now. Some of the questions have made the seat warm.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So there is this question that says that I am an individual, I set a goal or I have an aim to achieve, yet I have been very industrious. I'm very, very hardworking. I do all that I can do, but it seems not to end in the positive or affirmative. Okay, and I'm aging now. So what advice do you have for me, Mr. Aka?
Okay, you are hardworking, you are industrious.
I am hardworking. I have a goal or an aim to achieve, but I keep trying and it's still not working out. And I think time is not on my side anymore. What do I do?
I wish we engage this individual further to understand the goals and the specific, area of
concern.
Yeah. But in general, maybe the goals are directed at those targets, those expectations. If we know if the goals may be rearranged or reshaped, perhaps. But I'm sure that we're able to give a definite response to this. We may need to engage and
the individual,
have,
definitely.
A more detailed understanding of the person's situation. Somebody will say, are you going to change your direction? No, age is not on your side anymore. Maybe what you are doing, if you continue to do the same thing and it's not giving the expected results, then I'm sure just something needs to be reshaped or rearranged when we have more information.
Definitely.
Regarding the person's situation.
Yeah. So my cue from this is you can't keep on doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You need to change the way you approach it, and possibly the results would definitely change as well. But we'll get clarity from this particular person and still come back to you with this question. So thank you very much for addressing that. Now, there is this very interesting question. I'll take it from both of you, but from Mami's angle first. So there is this influx of Western culture and other cultures, not just the Western side, I could see some possibly coming from maybe copying from our dear brothers in Nigeria, for instance, right? Which has entered into our youth so much. And there is this social media pressure also, especially revolving around marriages and weddings. Okay, I want to know your take on this, because this has placed so much humongous, enormous pressure financially on the youth of today. So what is your take on all these things that are going on, and how do you think the youth of today should be advised to approach such things? I'll give you an example. I was reading on somebody's status, a young guy who wanted to get married to a very beautiful, pretty and understanding lady. I think the lady was from a bit of an astute family, and so she wanted to have something that is up to a certain level. To be able to please the sweetheart, this gentleman tried to engage the lady, but it didn't really work out. And so he tried to do what the lady had wanted, to the extent that his budget for the wedding was around 200,000 Ghana cedis. Eventually, he was able to amass something from a loan that he took. Now, his way of paying back the loan was that he was expecting his provident fund from the workplace, I hope you understand that, to come up. He was also expecting some bonuses to be paid. He was expecting some salary increment or rise to happen in possibly the next 6 months or 3 months. Okay, now this gentleman ends up, after the initial planning, realizes that the 200k budget has even been met already. So he had to take help from his in-laws to be able to pay for food and photography for the wedding ceremony. Now, wedding ceremony is over. 2 weeks afterwards, the president of Ghana announces a lockdown. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has struck the nation of Ghana, and then there's a lockdown. Fast forward, not to belabor this point too much, what has happened is that he had a pay cut, the bonuses, and then the PF payment was frozen or put on hold. And so this guy is in deep trouble at the moment. He goes to work, but he's not himself, and he doesn't know what to do. He tries to discuss with a sweetheart, and then the lady says, look, it's your problem. I didn't ask you to go through all this hell. If you couldn't do it, why didn't you man enough or come out to talk about this? So I am coming from that angle with this question, that there's a lot of influx of social media pressure, number one, the copying of Western culture, number two, and other cultures, especially around the organization of marriages, okay, weddings. What is your take on it, and what is your advice to us as youth?
Yes. So, marriage. We, as you have rightly said, we look at these things and we think it's beautiful out there. It is beautiful if you have the means, but for me, as an individual, I think that the traditional one we do, it's the real marriage. The Western one or the church wedding makes it also beautiful. It is not very, very healthy to go borrowing for marriage. Marriage needs to be planned. And like you mentioned, you said, the lady said he should have spoken or had a conversation with her so that they get a way forward. Today we say that my money, the lady's money is her money, and the man's money is for both of you. But it's not so. You are going into a lifelong partnership. So I believe that when it comes to marriage, it's the two that would have to sit and talk. How do we go about it? Even the list that the family would give, that's the woman's family. The woman can also go through the list with the family and make them give out a realistic list for the marriage, and the two would sit and do it. Not anything extraordinary, but something that is very beautiful and will give you that kind of respect as well. I think that is what it is to be, but not to go for a loan to have an extraordinary marriage or extravagant marriage with a wedding train about how many people following, and I think that is to the extreme. So we should cut our coat, as the saying goes, according to our material, and then we will be happy. Now the couple you are talking about, I think they are not really happy, but we are getting together to be happy, and with expenses here and there, I don't think they are really enjoying what they are calling marriage, and that is not healthy. It will bring about accompanying health issues, hypertension and the like, and it's not good. So don't go borrowing, plan, and then have a very respectful marriage, and it's also beautiful.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Aka, Mommy is saying that cut your coat according to your material. And what do you have to say with regards to this?
Yeah, thankfully, this is a Christian, conversation. I'm sure Scripture requests of us to be modest, that we should even act more and show off less.
Yeah.
Those types of marriages, I'm sure if they saw the type or the kind from social media, some of them are quite fake. And so you are going into a marriage that is starting with debts that you are now going to be servicing. I'm sure more than 50% of such extravagant, show-offs, more than 50% of those marriages end up, in separations and troubles, and because there will be no peace in those homes. So yes, my take is that let's be modest. Especially, I'm sure that in the Christian family, and in our case, yes, we had to come together. She also had to, contribute and provide some of the, things that were needed. That is where you show how you love each other.
Yeah.
Because yes, you're both working. So both of you are contributing to make the occasion a successful one. Why do you want the man to go and borrow all those monies? The lady who says that, she wasn't aware, she didn't ask him to go do all that. She would have known the earning power, the man's, ability, I'm sure. But she waited and allowed him to go through all that. And I'm sure it's not only the man who is feeling the pains.
She would also feel.
And he will not help marriages.
Okay.
So let's be modest. Let's have an understanding and do, just one that is respectful, as my wife said, and pleasing to the two of you, instead of pleasing the public and social media.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. I think my final question to Mommy, my last but one question to Mommy actually. So this is about sexism in marriage. And since you are a health person or health conscious person, we want to talk about this as well. So how often should couples engage in sex? And do you think what part does sex play in the marriage? Do you think it's even important at all? What part does it play, and how often should married couples involve themselves in sex?
Sex is very important in marriage.
I didn't hear that.
Sex is very, very important in marriage. It brings about bonding.
Excellent.
It is a moment when, yes, you are so bonded to the point that you can discuss things along the line. And I would say that the number of times, I won't say 2 or 3 times, as many times as you feel like having it, you can as a couple. As many times as your strength allows, but make sure you don't collapse in the act. Yes. So that is what I would say.
Wow, I am startled. Hot seat. Oh, I can't hear you. Hot seat. It's indeed sizzling hot in here. I think I love your answer, and I think one of these days we should invite you to teach the congregation about sex, especially the married couple, about sex and how they should handle it. And I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful experience. Let me come to Mr. Aka. So this is a very serious question. I call it the killer question.
Okay.
So the question is, who is richer? Is it mom or is dad? So this question does not pertain to you because certain things are private and must not be revealed to the public. So who is richer? Is it mom or dad? And there's a follow-up question to this. Does this really matter in providing for the family? So if you're a couple, who is richer? Does it even matter? And does it also play a role in how you provide for the family?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think that once we are married, the two of us have become one. So my resources and the resources of my wife now have become resources of both of us. So if we are poor, we are both poor. If we are rich together. However, men, our daddy is supposed to be the leader of the family. And so in that leadership role, it behoves of you to want to contribute more. And, well, I mean, in our case, if you look at the type of work we do, certainly an accountant may be paid a bit more than, so that's our situation.
Okay.
Have I answered the question?
I think you have.
Okay.
I think you have. And I respect your frankness as well to this particular question. Thank you very much. So I think we are almost ending it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Hot Seat. The Maiden edition of the Hot Seat series is being hosted at the Trinity Parish of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church, the Peace Hall to be specific. And this is an idea, fantastic Nobel idea that has come out from the executive members of the Evangelical Presbyterian Students Union, the Trinity Parish branch. So we thank God so much for this evening, and our hosts have been Mr. and Mrs. Daniel Edem Aka. We are grateful to God for having them here. I'll be taking your final words, but your final words, I think Mr. Aka will go to the men, your advice to the men, and then because we have Mrs. Vera Asima Aka here, her advice will go to the women. So I will start with Mommy first because, as they say, ladies first.
All right. So my advice to my young siblings is that, yes, we all know that love is beautiful. So if you are going into a lasting relationship, as in for life, you should choose wisely. And you shouldn't go into the relationship thinking that because that other person has something to offer me, that is why I'm going into it. But you should go into it with a mindset that I have something to offer in that relationship. And then also when you go into that relationship, you are going to engage each other. Communication is very key. You should be as transparent as much as possible. And I think you would enjoy your partnership. And also, before we all get into a relationship, it is very important that you have something doing. So get yourself into a job and then earn something. And your money should not be your money alone. It should be the money for the family. So that is what I would have to share with my younger siblings, the females.
Isn't it amazing? And this is coming from our dear mother, Mrs. Vera Asima Aka. Shall we give a round of applause once again? Hot seat is definitely sizzling hot. Mr. Aka, your final words, especially to the men.
So especially to my brothers here, my final word is that in our homes, as we ultimately will become and already are, husbands, we are going to be, and we are the leaders, the head of our families. As a result of that, a lot is expected of us. Whatever we are doing, we should make sure we do them diligently, put up our best. And as I even mentioned earlier on, we should always seek knowledge, because it's the best investment we can ever, do in our life, and it will pay. Let's make learning, reading, and seeking new knowledge part and parcel of our lives. And I'm sure we'll all get there. I am giving this advice to myself as well. And so the world will be a better place for all of us to live in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So we thank God so much for how far He's brought us. I think I just remembered that I gave a nudge to Mrs. Vera Aka that she was going to give us a rendition of her favorite music. So we will take that briefly. But before then, the idea of Hot Series, I've been given a nudge about it, was formally proposed by our former music director of Madina, EPSU Madina, former music director of EPSU Madina, in the person of Mr. John Agbeku Nutepo, or Nutepo. Mr. John Agbeku Nutepo, I think he's a friend to me as well. He's actually outside the country pursuing further studies. This is an amazing gentleman. So the idea of Hot Series was initially proposed by him, and this has been fine-tuned by the current executive members, being spearheaded by Mr. Ivan Yebua as the president, the current president. Thank you so much. God bless you. We are so grateful to you. So let me just quickly give our thanksgiving. So first and foremost to God Almighty for everything that He's done for us. Obviously to our guests who have accepted to be with us. They came here very early. They've been with us throughout, and it's been an amazing session. I mean, we have Bible quotations. We've had the dam blockers, and then the blockers, and then other things as well. So God bless you so much for making time out of your busy schedule to be with us here. I think that this session would definitely pay off, and we'll go into the volumes of books that are going to be written on history. So thank you so much. Thank you to the person who did the decoration for us, the executive members, for bringing out this program. Thank you to our sounds team, and also to our media and publicity wing. God bless you so much. Thank you. Shall we give ourselves a big round of applause once again? And definitely, I have been doing this with the help of my very able partner, Miss Karen Ohene, and I remain your humble servant, Mr. Victor Elom Anyomi. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Lord is the strength within me, and my song, The Lord is the strength within me, and my song, He has become my salvation, and He has become my salvation. The Lord is the strength within me, and my song, and my song.